Future Matt, so we're carrying on the vinyl, talking about vinyls video. We're just going to get it all done. This is going to be probably quite a long video, because I'm just going to like blast through all the rest of them and get it done in one big vid. Content. But anyway, I think we're kicking off this video with O. So starting things off is the Orwells, Who Needs You EP. Now, I don't really know why I bought this, I just wanted to own some Orwells on vinyl. Obviously Who Needs You is a great track, the rest of them on here are sort of, they're alright. I mean, Halloween All Year is a great song, although this is like the Audio Tree live session. Yeah, I know it's pretty standard, it's a nice little thing. Yeah, this is solidly alright. Now on to P, we have Paramore, Brand New Eyes. Now this is my favourite Paramore album. I had a big phase of just loving them when I was about 13, 14 or something, and it was this album that made me want to listen to them, basically. Quite a lot of people cite Riot as their best album because it's, you know, the most pop-punky one. It's like a quintessential pop-punk album, but I don't know, I just really like this one. It's got a nice blend of like pop-punk and sort of alternative rock, and it's just good, and there's a lot of good tracks on here. Like, All I Wanted is one of the most underrated Paramore songs. It's so good. This particular vinyl I have is like a limited edition one from Hot Topic, I think, because Hot Topic's like the pop-punk haven. Yeah, it's like this weird sort of baby sick colour. Which is kind of neat. I can't really say I like the colour, if I'm honest. I just the one they were selling was this colour, and there's a limited edition one. It's one of 1,300 copies just in existence. There's only 1,300 of these babies, and I've got one of them, which I think did actually ramp up the price of it. So I remember, you probably remember from an old video, if you've watched all of these, that this particular vinyl was, I saw on eBay for about 100 quid, 120 quid maybe. So it's quite valuable, which surprised me. Then we got Palmer Violets, 180, just a great British band. I really like this album. I actually discovered Palmer Violets at a Reading Festival. I went to see them with no prior knowledge of them and just thought they smashed it, and immediately went home and just ordered this. It was quite a cheap vinyl actually as well, I think. Like, it made ordering it a lot easier. But yeah, I really dig this album. It's a shame because I'm not a massive fan of what they've been putting out recently, but this album still stands the test of time. I mean, Best of Friends is such a great track. Rattlesnake Highway, Chicken Dippers, We Found Love, obviously. 14, oh 14, oh 14, take me home. Classic. Yeah, they're just a real nice band. And I think what I really liked with this album is they included a CD inside the vinyl package, so you could just pop it on your computer or pop it in your car or whatever, which I thought was a real nice touch. I mean, CDs are kind of outdated now, but you know, I still like them, I still collect them, it's all good. Then moving on to my Pink Floyd, Obscured by Clouds. Rather fittingly, this is one of the more obscure Pink Floyd releases. It's one of my dad's, and yeah, it's a pretty good album. It's been a while since I've listened to it, to be honest, so I might have to give this another spin. But I remember it being a lot heavier than most of Pink Floyd's other stuff, with a more emphasis on the rock than the psychedelic. Yeah, just sort of 1972 Pink Floyd, some good early stuff. Then Wish You Were Here, classic album. I've got it in this cool little, black protective cover with like a sticker here and then a bit of art there. If I take it out, you can see the actual vinyl. Very nice, with artwork on the back. Yeah, this is a great Pink Floyd album. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. It's a heavyweight vinyl as well, so it plays extra nice. Yeah, this was part of a whole bunch of reissues they did for Pink Floyd. There's a little postcard as well, just some art. So yeah, that's kind of neat. As I say, I really like it when they just give you like a bunch of weird free shit with vinyl. It just makes my day. I mean, I'm never going to use it. I hardly look at it, but they're just fun to own. You know, just extra like little collectibles. I like collecting, if that's not obvious. Dark Side of the Moon, which I stole from my dad. This album doesn't really need introduction. It's just one of the greatest psychedelic albums of all time. I really like this album. Pink Floyd's a very good band to own on vinyl, I think, because their music very much lends themselves to the listening experience of an album in its entirety rather than just individual like good tracks. And Dark Side of the Moon is definitely a testament to that. And then last in my Pink Floyd collection that I've again stolen from my dad is The Wall, obviously, Donald Trump's favourite album. Oh, then you got all the bad madness inside, which is pretty fun. Yeah, again, just a classic Pink Floyd album. Probably one of the best concept albums of all time. I mean, I feel this album very much popularised the concept album as a whole. I've got quite an extensive Pink Floyd collection, thanks to my dad, so thanks, Dad. Next up is Pixies, Doolittle. Again, another classic album. I mean, I think this is regarded by most as Pixies' best album, like them at their peak. Yeah, this is real nice. I think it's heavyweight as well. This is a repressing. Like this and their first album, I really like. They're just great, very nice. And talking of Pixies, here's some of their later stuff that I pre-ordered without listening to the actual thing. Because I think back in the day they did they released 4 EPs, which they then put together to make their like comeback album. And this is EP 2. of their 4 EPs. And I like the artwork's really cool. There's 4 tracks, and you know, they were okay, some of them were alright. I liked Blue Eyed Hexa, it's very like AC/DC-esque. And yeah, this is one of 4,000 copies that were printed. If I could choose again, I'd probably get EP1 because it's got Indie Cindy on there, and that was, I quite like that track. That's one of the best from their comeback or whatever. Then we got Elvis Presley, the greatest hits, or the all-time greatest hits I should say. This is my mum's actually, and I very much grew up listening to this record. I really liked dancing about to this when I was younger. In fact, on Blue Suede Shoes, one of my favourite songs, there's a skip, like a little halfway through the song, because that's where I would jump up and down when I was younger, and it caused the record to scratch, which is kind of nice. Whenever I listen to it, I'm like, oh, that's me. Yeah, this is my mum's, and she played it quite a lot when I was growing up. Like, we played this, a bit of Pink Floyd, the Beatles a bit, because my parents both like 60s and 50s kind of music. But yeah, obviously this is just packed full of all of Elvis's hits. Classic, like, rock and roll. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you got some alternative punk, I want to call them. Pup, The Dream Is Over, which I believe that name came from a doctor telling Stefan, the lead singer, that he could never sing again and that his music career was over, the dream was over. I mean, he obviously didn't listen because he made this album. But yeah, I love me some Pup. They're like if Weezer were in a hardcore punk band. They're heavy but kind of pop punky at the same time, which makes me, to call them pop punk seems like a wrong categorization, but to call them punk also seems wrong. So I've settled on alternative punk. I'm going with that. But yeah, there's some great tracks on this thing. If This Door Doesn't Kill You is a great song, and also red vinyl, because it's like an indie exclusive. Ain't that neat? Oh no, Pup are one of my favourite bands, and I really like them. Like this and their first album have just each been so good. I'm really looking forward to whatever they release next for sure. Then an album very dear to my heart, Queens of the Stone Age, Like Clockwork. It's one of the best Queens of the Stone Age albums, easily. I don't think it quite beats Songs for the Deaf, but it's really good nonetheless. This is one of the first albums I actually bought with my own money. I think it's the first album that I bought with my own money that wasn't a gift or anything. But it's real nice. It's heavyweight vinyl, and there's so much artwork on this. Like, Boneface's artwork, the guy that did the artwork, I love. And I bought the deluxe edition, which came with a booklet with with big prints of all his artwork in, which is in the middle of the sort of the gatefold, so you can kind of look through the book at all the cool artwork. And there's artwork for every single song, which is real nice. But I could literally just look at this all day. I think his artwork has very much become synonymous with Queens of the Stone Age for me. But yeah, it's 2 heavyweight vinyls with loads of great tracks on. A bit more artwork there for you. It's just a real nice package, and I'm really pleased with it. It's definitely one of my favourite vinyls I own, easily. Then moving on to art, we have Radiohead, The Bends, just a classic Radiohead album. I mean, amongst purists, they're probably all going to prefer like Radiohead's later stuff, but I don't know, I really like this album, some of their early stuff. It's just Radiohead at that most 90s. And then another one, In Rainbows, which is probably one of my favourite Radiohead albums. It's just really, really good. But yeah, part of the reason I wanted to get this on vinyl especially was because I downloaded the album when they gave it out for free initially, and you know, I thought it was really good. It was on my iPod, but I didn't pay anything for it, and I felt bad. So instead I bought this vinyl because I wanted them to take my money, because I want to support the band for a really, really good album. Yeah, this is definitely one of Radiohead's greats, I think, up there with the likes of OK Computer in my humble opinion. Then moving on, we have Royal Blood, the self-titled, signed by the band. I didn't actually meet them, but I pre-ordered it and they signed this copy. Yeah, this is a really, really solid debut, and I think, yeah, I was one of 500 people that got a signed copy upon release. I just got on the pre-order real early because I'm a big fan of this band. Back in the day, I was in a band with my friends, and we were essentially exclusively a Royal Blood cover band. We just did Royal Blood songs. No vocals, we just jammed the riffs, and it was real fun. Yeah, there's a lot of big riffs on this album. This is an album full of the bass riff. It's just a real solid album, and I'm glad I've got it signed as well. It's a nice little touch. They're a Brighton band as well, which makes it really cool, because like, I haven't met them yet, but I could just wander into them, just walking around Tesco's or something, be like, hey, I'm in Brighton, you're in Brighton. Then we have Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. Smashing Pumpkins' sophomore effort, their second album, it was really good. There's this little artwork insert, just with the track listings on it. Yeah, this is a real good album. I think this was a 2011 re-release, I think. Yeah, this is a great Smashing Pumpkins album. This and Melancholy, just them at their peak. They're so good. And I really want a copy of Melancholy on vinyl, but it's just so expensive and so rare nowadays. Like, to get a genuine pressing is so expensive, because they did re-release a massive box set, which costs like so much money, but I ain't getting that, I'm not rich. Yeah, I did hear a rumour about one of the girls on the front cover of this album growing up and becoming Smashing Pumpkins' bassist. I don't know if that's true. Then we have Santana, Greatest Hits. Yeah, it's just a pretty standard little Santana album. I just wanted some of their music. So it's just quite nice background music, and you know, it's one of their dads, and it's just got a great amount of Santana songs on. I mean, Black Magic Woman, Evil Ways, Samba Pati, just a nice little groovy vinyl. Anyway, next up, onto S, is The Smiths, Strange Ways Here We Come. Another one from my dad's collection, but it's just a real solid Smiths album. I really like it. I think this is the last Smiths album. I'm not sure, but I think it might be. Yeah, real nice little Smiths album. I like it. Like me a bit of Johnny Marr as well on guitar. Then on the more indie sides of things, Tom Rosenthal, The Pleasant Trees. He released this as basically 3 EPs and then combined them all into one big album. And I really, really like it. Still very piano ballady and good for soundtracking daydreams, and just it makes me very nostalgic listening to it for some reason. He's just got he has a style that evokes emotion, which I really, really like. In fact, I've used a few of his songs in previous videos that I've put on YouTube. They're on to some T-Rex, or Tyrannosaurus Rex as they were known. My people were fair and had sky in their hair, but now they're content to wear stars on their brows. Quite the album title. And then that's one side of it. On the other side is another T-Rex album, or Tyrannosaurus Rex. Prophets, Seers and Sages, the Angels of the Ages, because they really dug long titles back in like the 60s. Yeah, this is like proper early T-Rex, so it's a little bit weird. I mean, I can't remember which album it is. I think it's My People Were Fair, is where there's literally 2 of them, and there's just a guy who plays bongos throughout the whole thing, and it's really strange. But yeah, and then on a bit more of the basic end, we have just the greatest hits of T-Rex and Mark Boland. All the best T-Rex songs in one little place, which is quite nice to have on vinyl. So I do like me a bit of Mark Bolan. Then moving on a bit, skipping some letters, we have Velvet Underground, White Light, White Heat, their second record. This is really good. This is like the birth of garage rock as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Velvet Underground and Nico kind of like laid the foundations, and this really solidified it. This was a much more rock album compared to their debut effort. The title track, White Light, White Heat, is really good for that very reason. It's very rocky and heavy, and Sister A, the 17-minute epic, is just really, really cool. I mean, I heard that the producer actually walked out of the session because he just thought it was going to flop, and he thought it was a terrible, terrible song, and he got proved oh so wrong. Oh so wrong. But yeah, this is one I bought myself at a vinyl fair. It's pretty standard. It's in good nick, which is nice. I think it's got a variant cover, an alternative cover that was for the UK re-release in the 1970s, I think. But yeah, it's pretty good. I dig the cover, I dig the songs, and I just thought it would be a real nice thing to own. Then stemming from that, we have Another View, one of my dad's ones. This is like some B-sides from their later stuff. It's their second sort of B-sides album. And it's alright. There's some good songs on here. Yeah, there's some more stuff on here. I kind of just stole it from my dad's collection just for a bit of completion, I suppose, just so I wouldn't have like just the one vinyl of Velvet Underground. And then we have Weezer with Pinkerton, a great sophomore album from one of the best bands from the 90s, in my opinion. Yeah, this is a Vinyl We Please special again, which means it's got a really cool blue vinyl. You can see that, like a sort of blue marbled effect, which is real nice. And also, if I open up the sleeve, it's got a little pop-out thing, which is real nice. So I can just sort of pop that on display while the album plays. But yeah, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the story of Pinkerton by now, but it was released initially to very negative reviews from critics, and now it's regarded as their best album, and one of the best albums of the 90s. So quite the U-turn there. Yeah, it's Weezer at their most moody. I mean, everyone who is a Weezer fan bangs on about this album, but it is really good. But yeah, literally every song is great. My personal favourite is El Scorcho. I just love that song, it's so much fun. Gotta be one of my favourite songs of all time, and I'm really glad I've got it in this format, just in a physical format I can own. And also the artwork's real cool. I've always thought the artwork for Pinkerton was really well done. The final album from White Stripes, Icky Thump. Quite a few people I feel didn't like this album as much as their early stuff, but I think it really holds up. I think this is a great album. White Stripes doing what White Stripes do best, being noisy, being animalistic, and just really that chemistry between Jack and Meg White really shines on this album. Yeah, this is a heavyweight vinyl on 2 separate black vinyls. Again, this is pressed by Third Man Records, Jack White's own label, and he takes good care of the vinyls. I trust the man with this format. And rightly so, because it does sound very nice. Yeah, it came with a cool little sticker that I had to like cut down to actually open up the vinyl. Definitely one of my favourite White Stripes albums, I think. If you haven't gathered already from my previous like vinyl videos, I'm a big fan of Jack White. I just think he's such a good guitarist. He pummels it with a lot of feeling and like soul, and I really like that. Got a lot of character to his music. Moving on, we have Quadrophenia by The Who. Another really great album. Generally speaking, with The Who, I prefer their early stuff, but this is one of the few exceptions where it's an album that I just love from beginning to end that came later in their career. But as with the Queens of the Stone Age vinyl, they've got a cool little booklet inside with a whole bunch of liner notes there from like the history of the album, the film, and then loads of like shots from the film accompanied with the lyrics. Yeah, again, this is a double album. This was actually a present, I think, from my grandparents, which is real nice. But yeah, also a real nice touch I didn't realise till actually buying the album on vinyl and seeing the artwork really big, that you can see all the band members' faces in the mirrors for the moped. Then we have Wolf Alice's debut, My Love Is Cool, signed by the band up there. It's all a bit smudged because on the same day that I met the band at a signing, I went to another gig for the music college in Brighton, and it was very hot at that gig and it smudged a bit, hence the smudging of Ellie's and Joel's writing. Yeah, this is a really good album. I was incredibly impressed with Wolf Alice's debut. Bros is on this album, and it's one of my favourite songs because it's a very personal song for me and my sisters, and we all like freak out when it comes on. It's really good. And sticking with the colour theme of the album, black and gold, the vinyls are pressed onto gold. Sort of a marble. There's a marbled effect as well. I don't know if you can see that next to the light. It's real nice. 180 grams, heavyweight. Real good stuff. But yeah, just a real good like alternative indie album. I remember when I met them at the signing, they did an acoustic install gig at Resident Records in Brighton, and I met them there, and they complimented my Jake the Dog phone case, which I was like, they're Adventure Time fans. Thanks guys, if you're watching, probably not. And now we've worked our way through all the letters of my vinyl collection, we're onto sort of the compilations and things like that. And first off is the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. Now this is my favourite film of all time, I just love it. If I were to be transformed into a film somehow, I would be transformed into Scott Pilgrim, because it's just got all the things I love in it. It's got like cartoons and comics sort of style, it's got really good music, it's sort of indie and weird. I just really dig it, and it's like got bands and music in and stuff. But yeah, it's on a cool red see-through vinyl in keeping with the aesthetics of the cover. And yeah, the soundtrack to the film is just so good. I mean, you've got the Beck written Sex Bob-omb tracks, which I really like. Like, I'm very upset that Sex Bob-omb are a fictional band, because if not, I would be a massive fan of them. Because obviously we've got We Are Sex Bob-omb, Garbage Truck and Threshold are on this album, and there's a cool like 8-bit version of Threshold at the end of this, which is real nice. But outside of the original songs, you have a bunch of really great bands from around Canada and just indie bands from around UK as well. So you've got Plumtree, from which Scott Pilgrim's name was derived from the song of the same name. Black Lips is on here. Blue Tones Metric with Black Sheep, a great song. Blood Red Shoes are on here, and I really like them. This film was my introduction to the band, and I ended up finding the rest of the stuff and really digging them. Yeah, it's just a really good soundtrack to my favourite film, and it's just something I had to own on vinyl, so I'm glad it's part of my collection. And lastly, the final vinyl, Sound of California in the 60s, which was my mum's, which is just kind of a fairly decent compilation. It's just got a whole bunch of tracks I really like on. Surfing Bird, The Trashmen, the most irritating song of the entire 60s. I'm not going to sing it, because it'll get stuck in your head, but just Google it if you don't know it, and you'll understand. But we've got some great Beach Boys tracks on here, The Lovin' Spoonful, The Birds, Jefferson Airplane, just some real good stuff from the 60s, the kind of thing, you know, as I say, I grew up a lot around. Oh, you got Wipeout by the Safaris as well, a great song, great riff. But yeah, as I say, this is my mum's that I stole, it was real nice. But yeah, that's it for my vinyl collection. I think I've already asked what vinyls I've bought in a year on the first video of this that I did way back when, so I'm not going to ask again. But yeah, I think that'll be it for the Talking About videos for now, because they're just filler. They're just obvious filler, just hashtag content, as I say. But yeah, with that, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, future Matt.